President William Ruto has called on the warring parties in the Sudan conflict to embrace dialogue and work towards the attainment of lasting peace. This comes after the leader of Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces, General Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, arrived in Kenya on Wednesday and held talks with his host, President William Ruto. General Mohamed was also expected to hold a press conference earlier this evening, but that has since been postponed. George Maringa now reports.
As had been expected, at around 11 a.m. local time, the aircraft carrying General Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, also known as Hemedti, touched down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi. He was received by, among others, Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki and Intelligence Boss Noordin Haji. Kenya is the last stop of Mohamed Hamdan's first trip abroad since the fierce fighting erupted between the RSF and the Sudanese army in mid-April. IGAD, an eight-nation East African bloc headquartered in Djibouti, is leading diplomatic efforts to broker a meeting between Dagalo and his rival, Sudanese Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. The warring generals have not met face-to-face since the outbreak of the conflict that has killed more than 12,000 people by some conservative estimates and forced millions to flee. Hamdan has also visited Djibouti, Ethiopia and Uganda on his regional tour and said he was committed to ending the conflict. Upon arrival at State House Nairobi, President William Ruto welcomed his guest to his other home, referring to him as his brother.
My good brother. Welcome to your other home. Thank you.
The Sudan army has always accused Kenya of supporting RSF. Following the meeting between the two, President William Ruto called on the warring parties in the Sudan conflict to embrace dialogue and work towards the attainment of lasting peace. The president lauded proponents of the Jeddah initiative for agreeing to work with IGAD. He observed that IGAD and the African Union are well positioned to mediate in the Sudan situation, and I quote, "The Jeddah talks should bring about a political settlement that would bring a lasting solution to the people of the Sudan." He commended General Hamdan and the RSF for their commitment to ending the conflict in the Sudan through dialogue, saying there cannot be a permanent solution without the involvement of RSF. The president said that Kenya is prepared to go the extra mile to ensure peace is restored in Sudan, saying Kenya is not looking for anything other than a peaceful resolution and a stable neighbor. On his part, General Hamdan commended Kenya for its efforts to resolve the conflict in the Sudan. He expressed their support for IGAD resolutions, describing them as the roadmap to achieving lasting peace and stability. The visiting RSF leader was supposed to hold a press conference at 6 p.m., but just about 48 minutes before then, the media was informed that the press conference had been rescheduled. Time will tell how the peace process turns out in the Sudan. George Maringa, TV 47, Nairobi.